Imagine building a company so dominant, your brand name becomes a verb. People didn't say, "Can you photocopy this?" They said, "Can you Xerox this?" That's the level of power Xerox once had. But here's the crazy part. This same company later became one of the most hated stocks on Wall Street. It was drowning in debt, accused of accounting fraud, losing market share, and dangerously close to bankruptcy. Most people thought Xerox was finished. But then, against all odds, it engineered one of the greatest corporate turnarounds in modern business history. And the lessons from this comeback apply to almost every business today: startups, creators, agencies, SaaS companies, even personal brands. Because Xerox's biggest mistake is the exact same mistake many businesses are making right now. To understand the turnaround, we first need to understand how dominant Xerox really was. In 1959, Xerox launched the Xerox 914, the world's first easy-to-use plain paper copier. And it completely transformed office work. Before Xerox, making copies was expensive, messy, and time-consuming. Xerox simplified the process. Demand exploded. The company became a money-printing machine. By the 1970s, Xerox controlled most of the copier market. Profit margins were massive. Competitors struggled to survive. But the most fascinating part of Xerox's story wasn't the copier business. It was their research lab, Xerox PARC. Inside PARC, Xerox engineers invented technologies decades ahead of their time. The graphical user interface, the computer mouse, Ethernet, laser printing, early personal computing concepts. Basically, they invented huge parts of the modern tech industry. But here's the tragedy. Xerox failed to commercialize many of these innovations. Other companies saw the opportunity faster, especially Apple, Microsoft. Xerox invented the future, but other companies captured the value. The biggest mistake: success created blindness. This is where the story becomes incredibly important for modern businesses. Xerox's biggest enemy wasn't competition. It was complacency. The company became obsessed with protecting its existing business model. And this happens to businesses all the time. A company finds one successful formula, then slowly becomes emotionally attached to it. Instead of asking, "What will customers need next?" they ask, "How do we protect what already works?" That mindset kills innovation. While Xerox focused on defending copiers, the world was changing. Computers were rising. Email was reducing paper usage. Offices were becoming digital. Cheaper Asian competitors entered the market. Companies like Canon, Ricoh started producing cheaper and more efficient machines. Meanwhile, Xerox became slower, more bureaucratic, and less customer-focused. Businesses usually die gradually before they die suddenly. The warning signs appear years earlier: slower innovation, internal politics, overconfidence, ignoring customers, protecting old revenue streams. By the time financial collapse becomes visible, the cultural decline has already happened. By the late 1990s, Xerox was in serious trouble. Revenue slowed, debt exploded, costs spiraled out of control. Then came the fatal blow. Securities and Exchange Commission accused Xerox of accounting manipulation. Investor trust collapsed overnight. And trust is everything in business. Once investors, employees, customers, and lenders stop believing in a company, the decline accelerates rapidly. At one point, Xerox had nearly $18 billion in debt. Its stock price collapsed. Credit agencies downgraded the company. Bankruptcy fears spread everywhere. Analysts believed Xerox would disappear. And honestly, most companies in this situation never recover. Then came the person who changed everything, Anne Mulcahy. And here's what's interesting. She wasn't a celebrity CEO. She wasn't a famous turnaround specialist. She wasn't a Wall Street star. She started as a salesperson at Xerox. But what made Anne exceptional was something rare in leadership. clarity under pressure. When she became CEO in 2001, she faced two choices. Option 1, pretend everything was under control. Option 2, face reality aggressively. She chose reality. And this is one of the most important leadership lessons from the Xerox turnaround. In a crisis, denial becomes expensive. Many failing businesses waste years protecting ego instead of solving problems. Anne did the opposite. She openly admitted the company was in danger. Hard decisions were necessary. The business model needed change. That honesty rebuilt credibility, and credibility buys time. Most people think turnarounds happen because of one genius idea. That's usually false. Turnarounds are operational. Xerox recovered because it executed hundreds of painful but smart decisions consistently. Ruthless cost-cutting. Xerox eliminated unnecessary spending. Thousands of layoffs. Selling non-core assets. Shutting weak divisions. Reducing operational complexity. This wasn't glamorous, but survival comes before growth. And this is an important founder lesson. Many businesses fail because they optimize for expansion before stability. Growth doesn't fix broken economics. It amplifies them. 2. Focus on core strengths. Xerox stopped chasing distractions. Instead of trying to compete everywhere, it focused on enterprise document solutions and printing infrastructure. This is extremely applicable today. A lot of startups and creators dilute themselves by launching too many products, serving too many audiences, chasing trends constantly. Focus creates operational leverage. Rebuilding internal culture. This part is underrated. Anne Mulcahy spent huge amounts of time communicating with employees directly. Why? Because fear destroys execution. When employees stop believing in leadership, productivity falls, innovation slows, politics increase, talent leaves. Turnarounds are emotional before they're financial. A motivated team can survive terrible conditions. A disconnected team collapses, even with resources. Now here's the most important part. Cost-cutting saved Xerox temporarily, but transformation saved Xerox permanently. The company realized the future wasn't photocopiers, it was services and digital workflows. So Xerox evolved from a copier company into a business solutions company. It expanded into managed print services, workflow automation, digital document systems, business outsourcing. Then came a major strategic move, the acquisition of Affiliated Computer Services in 2010. This shifted Xerox deeper into IT and business process services. And this reveals another major lesson. Companies survive when they redefine their identity early enough. Kodak thought it was a film company. Blockbuster thought it was a retail company. The companies that survive ask, what job does the customer actually hire us for? Xerox realized customers didn't want copiers. They wanted efficient document management. That mindset shift changed everything. The big business lessons. Here are the biggest lessons every company needs to know. Entrepreneur, founder, and creator can apply from Xerox. Lesson 1. Don't confuse current success with future relevance. The market changes faster than companies expect. Your biggest strength today can become your biggest weakness tomorrow. Lesson 2. Protecting the old business can destroy the future business. Many companies reject innovation because it threatens existing revenue. But if you don't disrupt yourself, someone else will. Lesson 3. Operational discipline matters more than motivation. During difficult times, cash flow matters, efficiency matters, focus matters. Business turnarounds are rarely dramatic. They're usually disciplined. Lesson 4. Leadership is tested during uncertainty. Anyone can lead during growth. Real leadership appears during crisis. Anne Mulcahy rebuilt Xerox mainly through trust, communication, decisiveness, emotional stability. Lesson 5. Reinvention is a continuous process. The companies that survive longest are usually not the smartest. They're the most adaptable. Xerox's story isn't just about copiers. It's about what happens when successful companies stop adapting. and what becomes possible when leadership finally accepts reality. Because in business, the market doesn't care how successful you used to be. It only rewards companies that stay useful in the future. And sometimes, the difference between collapse and comeback is the willingness to reinvent before it's too late. If you enjoyed this case study, subscribe for more deep business breakdowns, startup stories, and corporate strategy lessons.